Yeah, and everything, huh? What's up?
I have to.
I have to.
I gotta be comfortable in my closet.
Closet.
What's up,
What's
Roundup
up,
homies?
Roundup homies?
It's Chris
It's Chris
Haskins here
Haskins
to bring
here
you
to
some
bring you
value
some
with my
value with
friend
my
Daniel
friend Daniel
Borrero. What's up,
Borrero.
brother?
What's up, brother? Here, brother, living the life, man.
That's cool.
That's cool.
So today
So
we
today
want
we want
to
to
share with
share
you
with you
real estate
real
investing
estate investing
updates,
updates,
tips,
tips,
strategies, and tricks
strategies,
that
and
we're
tricks that
doing to
we're
stay
doing to
in
stay
business
in business
from
from
2024 and
2024 and
beyond.
beyond.
So to share with
To
you
share with you
the
the
decades and
decades and
decades that we have
decades
been
that we
doing
have
this
been
to
doing this to
hopefully
hopefully
help you
help
avoid
you
a lot of our
avoid a lot of
mistakes
our
that we
mistakes that
made
we made
doing business.
doing business.
Is that fair,
Is
Dan?
that fair, Dan? I agree.
So
So
I wanted to
I
talk to
wanted
you,
to talk
Dan,
to you,
about
Dan, about.
somebody got an echo.
Somebody
Is
got
that
an
me?
echo. Is that me? I think it's you, Chris. You want to try to?
Hmm.
How do I? I could go on live. How do I request to go on live on my computer?
Uh,
Uh,
I'm gonna kick
I'm
you
gonna
off
kick
real
you off
quick,
real
Dan,
quick,
and
Dan,
come
and
back.
come back. But no, how do I come on live? Just I could give you a request to go on live here. Oh, I see a join. All right, I'm gonna send you a join.
Am I going
Am
on
I
your
going on
YouTube?
your YouTube? No, I'm going on you. You, I see. I got you on my monitor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So how do I get?
One, two. I knew that was Dan. Jackie, Nurse E, Mr. Chu. How do I sound? And by the way, I am broadcasting live from my closet. It's the only place I'm gonna start doing more stuff in my closet. It's the only place that I can get some peace of mind. I just want to be as honest and forthcoming as I can with y'all. I'm in my closet. Am I ashamed? At least it's quiet. Can you hear that? Oh my Lord, it's just so quiet. Thank you, God, giving me a little bit of peace and quiet. My office, everybody want to bang on the door. Daddy, can you do this? I need this. I need that. I need this. Whew, God help me. So I got a little bit of peace in my closet. So I'm gonna be here in the closet, dog. I'm just being honest with y'all. What do you want me to do? What you want from me? Yo,
Yeah, I could. I'm here now, bro. Let's get this done. Let's make this happen.
let's see. Check one, two. Is it echoing?
I'm good in my end. Can you hear me?
Sounds good right here.
Here we go.
In the closet. So, Dan, I wanted to talk to you about the work. I know we very briefly talked about it yesterday. Do you think of when you're out there looking for houses, do you say I gotta get a deal within the next X amount of time frame? Is that like on your radar?
I used to, but as time goes on, we change our habits, we change our goals, we change everything that we do, right? Because life makes us change, right? Whether it be family stuff, whether it be business stuff, whether it be because the economy, the interest rates, uh, if the banks are tightening with lending, there's so many different variables that make us change what our goals are, right? So
Mm.
I used to have those stringent goals, and I've realized that I need to run my race and not run someone else's race. So what I do now is I stay focused on how much more I want to increase my income, and then I decide what do I need to do to achieve that goal, right? And then I come up with a plan on how to achieve that goal. Now, my plans, and we've spoken about this, Chris, personally, and as well as on the air. My goals have always been 10 years out. I'm a long term guy, right?
Time
But
travel.
Right. So, but to reach that goal 10 years from now, there's other goals I have to reach, right? So I have to create a plan. Okay, this is for me to reach here in 10 years, I got to reach this goal first, then this goal, then that goal, then this goal, and then that goal, right? Because it's a stepping process, but you got to create a plan within within the goal.
Yeah, something how I look at it now. when I look at my income, the older you get, I can almost pinpoint where to go to increase. I know I need X amount of houses if I want this. How long is it going to take me to pay that debt off? And let me ask you, Dan, when I first started, I could give a hill of beans about an amortization table, right, on all my AM tables. Now, Dan, I've got them all printed out. I know exactly where I am on them. I want to ask you, do you know your AMs, or did you know as you was paying them off? Did you pay attention
Well,
to
yeah, because every time you get your monthly bill, it says it on the bottom too, right? Think about that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, without a doubt. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man. When you see those numbers come down, the principal amount you owe, it's like a savings bank. When I remember when I started saving to buy my first property, I was like, if I could do $100, every 2 weeks, I'd be happy. And then when I saw it like reach $2,000, I'm like, damn, maybe I could bump this up to like another $150 every 2 weeks, right? And then it just keeps growing and growing. And so when you see the number growing in your savings account, it just pumps you up to try to figure out more ways to cut down on costs and things like that so you could save more money, right? Well, it's the same thing with the amortization, right, Chris? It's like the more money you put down towards it, and then you see like, damn, wait a minute. So last month I made a regular payment and $400 of that regular payment went to it. But now this month another $25 went to it because I paid down another $1,000 the previous month, the extra.
Yes.
Damn, if I paid $2,000, now I have $50 more, and then $50 times 12 months, right, comes out to $600 more per year. So this is what starts happening in your mind, right? Your mind starts to get excited. So
What the world? You there, Dan?
I'm here.
Okay. It's weird you say that, Dan. I was thinking about when I was in church this morning, our environment. And I have all my ant tables. I don't have a lot, but Dan, I know the exact month I'm on, every one of them. I'm like, I could pull it out of my file. I'm right here. Boom, that's where we at. But years ago, I didn't even care about that stuff. I'm like, I'll pay it whenever. But I found out the wealthy, they know exactly where they are. They know where we are. We know where we are.
I want to look, guys. Right now it's tax season, right?
Oh God.
So for anybody, if you have an LLC, corporate tax returns, those are all got to be due March 15th.
Man.
I started doing mine already, actually, weeks ago. But every 3 months, I get this. This is a balance sheet for each property I own, balance sheet, right? For each company. Then I get what they call P&I. You want to explain what P&I is?
P&I, profit. No, what's that? Is that a P&L?
P&L, rather, P&L.
Profit and loss. So you
Right.
need to
So
put
then, and these
in
are my
and
profit
out.
and loss, right? So, guys, you can't, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. If you don't know your business, you don't know if you're doing it right. And this is not something, a lot of people do this at the end of the year. Nah, this is something, look, these happen to be 3. I just finished 2 more down there. The reality, 3 more. The reality is if you don't know your numbers,
You're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
I
I don't care what your business is. You better know your numbers.
in and out. So guys, please put questions in the chat. Jackie, Mr. Chu, Kipani, what's going on, y'all? Tim Allen, good to see you. Mr. Chu, Jackie, E. Fleming. Who we got here with us tonight? Thank y'all for coming on with Dan and I. Please put your questions in here so Dan and I can answer them. And tomorrow, it's going to be Monday, February 26th. I'm going to be in person in Virginia Beach. So you can come out, hang out with us, and the link's going to be below. So you can get the address and meet my friend, Lakeisha Kirkendall. She manages over 200 doors. She's a property manager. She's going to be giving you her tips to being a successful property manager. So, Dan, what about with people that say don't pay down your... Oh, I wanted to ask you, when you pay that extra, let's say you pay $1,000 for the month, right? It's almost like magic because you pay your original payment. That could be $600, and you paid $1,000. And like the next couple months going by, you think about the $1,000, but you don't even know that you paid the $600. So it's $1,600 that's going
Correct.
that month.
Yeah.
And, your mind is like $1,000, but it's almost like a 401k. They're matching you're putting the money in, but it's going towards your principal.
But Chris, but we should talk about the low interest rates, right? So like
That's
if
true.
you have a 3% interest rate on your mortgage,
Free
I
money.
wouldn't pay anything extra towards that.
Yeah,
What I would do though is, 'cause I've never had a 3% mortgage in my life.
me neither.
If I had a 3% mortgage, I wouldn't pay anything extra. But let's say I had $1,000 extra to pay towards a mortgage, I'd open up a Vanguard S&P 500 fund and just throw it in there, because in 20 years, 25 years, you're gonna have well over $1 million in there if you're putting $1,000 a month in there. Well, damn, you'll have more than $1 million at $1,000 a month, right? So why am I going to rush to pay off a house that I'm only paying 3% interest on, or 3.5% interest on? That's like free money. You could put your money in a CD and get 5.25% right now,
That's
right?
true.
So that makes no sense. Now, if you have an 8% rate, 7% rate, 9% rate, yeah, put the money down towards the mortgage, because it's costing you more money to hold that mortgage than if you took that money and reinvested it. But if you got a 3% mortgage, you're nuts. Shoot yourself in the head if you're paying that down quickly. Now, that doesn't mean you take that money and go to Atlantic City, go to Nevada, to Las Vegas. No, you take that money that you would have put down on your down payment to get your mortgage paid quicker, put it into an S&P 500 fund. That's assuming you don't like watching the stock. I've been doing that for 25 years. I'm not a stock guy. Put my money into the S&P 500 on the 15th of the month, whether it's up or down, it takes it right out of my account, and it goes up. Guess what? It's a whole lot more money in there right now than there was 15, 20 years ago.
That's sweet, Dan. That's sweet. So basically, you're saying if you're not paying down principal, at least keep something that you're earning. I know the richest man in Babylon says, "A part of what I earn is mine to keep," and that's what I hear you say.
Guys, book he just mentioned right here.
You better have it, y'all. You better have it. So
It's
when
only
I hear
like
the word,
$6 on Amazon.
yeah, when I hear the word keep, Dan, I think a lot of us misconstrue that. When I say keep, well, in my mind, I'm thinking keep is mine going to the grave. Like, this is what I'm keeping. So when I pay down principal, and once again, this is just how I'm looking at it. It's mine. So this is going towards building my empire here on planet Earth. Whether it's S&P, for whatever I'm doing, it's mine. It ain't going nobody else. Like, I'm not going to end up spending it one day. Dan, how do you look at that?
Exactly, like the same way you did. That's why I said take that extra money, put it into the S&P 500 fund. I agree with you 120%. There's a question here from Mr. Chu.
Do either of us
2.8% interest rate, 27 years left, only 24K balance. Pay it off or not? No, you got $24,000 to pay it off. I would open up an S&P 500 with Vanguard. They got the cheapest costs, right? Then I tell the Vanguard guy, listen, every month you take out $1,000 on the 15th of the month. I don't care if the market's up or down, and you transfer it from the cash account into the money market. By the way, their cash account is paying more than 5% interest right now, right? So now every month you averaging it out over 24 months. That's going to be a whole lot of money on 27 years, guy. A whole lot more money than you're going to be close to close. I would say over $500,000. Just reinvesting whatever the dividends are from the S&P. Just tell them keep buying more, keep buying more S&P. So with me, what I do is the dividends that I get from all those stocks, I tell them, no, don't give it to me. Don't put it back in my bank account. Just keep buying more S&P 500 funds, right? And that's how you grow it, right? Just put it in there and forget about it.
forget about it, Dan? So put your questions in. Deborah says she took your advice, got a high interest savings account. Good, good, good. So Dan, for people that think that they can just get into this business and have a little bit of cash flow every month, what is your opinion on $200 a month cash flow every month?
Look, the reality is you got to start somewhere, right? At this point in my life, am I doing it for $200 a month? No. Did I do it before? Absolutely, I have. But there was also a game plan. I was getting a lot of asset appreciation because most of my properties back then were in New York City. So I wasn't getting a lot of cash flow, but I was getting a lot of asset appreciation. But as you continue to grow in your career, that's going to change. You're going to become the person who wants not only the cash flow, but you also want the asset appreciation, but that comes with a certain amount of skill set, and the skill set comes from experience. So, you got to get into the game. If it's $200 a month, then so be it. Go for it.
Okay, so you're not mad at $200 a month and a repair wiping out your cash flow.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? So let's say if it's $200 a month from one door and the property was renovated before you bought it, it's safe to assume you're not going to have any major capital improvements.
Yeah, but how many investment properties you buying below market value that's completely renovated? I don't even.
It's not going to. It's rarely happens, right? But again, that's where the skill sets come in, right? So now, if let's say you're making $200 a door, and you're going to need a new roof next year, you're going to have to dig that property is going to cost you more money. You're going to have to dig into your pocket, right? So it all depends, the condition of the property, what kind of tenants you have, or do you suspect you're going to have to kick them out? Listen, the property talks to people. Like, Chris, how many properties you walk into before you walk in, the property's telling you everything's wrong with it? Just from the outside. How often does that happen?
A lot. And the smell, too.
The property's talking to you. The property tells you everything. When I walk into a property, when I pull up, actually, I don't pull up. I usually park a block away, and I get there at least half an hour, 40 minutes before the realtor gets there, whoever's selling me the property. And I'm just watching the people coming down the stairs. I'm seeing their attitude, how they dress, how they're talking to their kids, how they walk.
Give us an example, Dan. We got 80 people on here right now.
So
this is you showing up to the home appointment to visit the property.
I'll give you one. This is a really good example. So I pull up to the property. It's a commercial storefront on the bottom, 3 residential apartments on top. You there, Chris? I think I lost you, Chris. Okay. So I'll just keep talking until Chris comes back on. Property. It's a commercial storefront on the bottom, 3 residential apartments on top. So, Chris, what happened was I see the guy coming out of the building with a pit bull. And then I see him yelling at his kid. Like, hurry the F up.
Oh, boy.
So I say to myself, all right, I don't know what apartment he's coming out of, but I know I'm going to have a problem with him, right? Then I see the storefront is filthy. The guy hasn't swept outside all day or probably 2 days. Filthy, right? So now this is a food establishment. Who the hell wants to walk into a food establishment if the outside's dirty? I could only imagine what the inside looks like, right? I could only imagine what his basement looks like. I could only imagine how many health issues he's going to have in there. I could only imagine that the place is roach infested. Because I don't know about you, man, but I would never want to walk into a storefront where they sell food and the windows are filthy and the front of the building is filthy. Well, what's there to expect when you walk in?
I noticed that now, Dan. I look around the restaurants, man. I walk out if they're dirty because I know that if the front is dirty, then the kitchen's filthy.
So, and if the kitchen's filthy, what else you got? You got mice problems, you got rat problems, you got roach problems. That's just the reality, right? Now I walk into the building, I see bicycles, strollers, workout equipment.
Oh, shit.
So on every floor. So now I'm saying to myself, I got a problem with every tenant in this building. So I know I got to train all these tenants. I know that's going to take time. I know I'm going to end up in housing court. I know I'm going to go without rent because I'm going to end up in housing court. Right? So the realtor didn't have to tell me anything. I already know because the building's talking to me. The building's just screaming at me.
Dan, for people that have rented, we got 110 people on here. Dan, I've been getting applications, and I got a few, right, where my applicants are dealing with landlord-tenant court from their previous landlord. And they always have a story about some this. And
Always.
I want to ask you, these particular tenants, they got the free attorney. What's the free attorneys called?
The public defender, public.
I can't. No, it's something else.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Public aid. Was it public aid? Legal aid.
Legal aid.
So, Dan, I want to ask you, if someone has dealt with legal aid recently, is that a tenant that of applicant you're going to pass on, or would you consider that?
Okay, so it all depends what state you're in, guys. I'm going to be real politically correct right now.
Florida. Let's say it's in Florida.
So it's in Florida? No, I'm going to tell you straight up, absolutely not. Because they're going to tell me how terrible the landlord is. I'm going to say, well, how long has it been that bad? It's been like that all year. I said, how many months you still not paying? I didn't pay him last month, the month before. I said, so it's so bad that it's good enough for you to live in for free, but too bad for you to pay? Right? Then my other argument, like one guy says to me, not a lady, it was a guy, he says, man, the place was roach infested, rat infested, no heat. I'm like, now this is in Jersey though, this is a different animal. So I said, so you went to it, no heat? He goes, yeah, that's why I haven't paid him. So I said, so let me see if I got this right. You've been living there 6 months, haven't paid no rent, but it was okay for you to live since you were paying no rent with roaches, rats, no heat, no hot water. It was good enough. I says, yeah, bro. I says, you should stay there as long as you can. Because it ain't going to work for you here.
You told the guy to stay.
Yeah, because it ain't working for you here. You know.
Listen,
so,
go ahead.
Look, at the end of the day, if it's that bad, leave. There's no judge anywhere in this country that when you tell that, let's say the landlord takes you to court because you broke the lease. You tell the landlord, it's all my proof. Roaches, mice, he didn't make no repairs, the hallways infested, there's a safety issue, there's lead paint. Here's all my proof, Judge. I couldn't live there, it was inhabitable. Judge's gonna say, you know what? You're right, you should sue him now. There's no judge that's going to hold you to a lease that is to a property that's inhabitable.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So if you stay there, it's because it's convenient at the landlord's expense. So no, I'm not interested.
Mr. Chu, Frog, and thank you so much for your love offering. How do we do? Hey, it's only 4 likes. If y'all go down there and hit that thumbs up button for Dan and I, you're getting some good game here from Dan Borrero. Make sure you give me a follow. Hit that subscribe button. Go to Dan Borrero's channel. Give us a follow. We got 120 some people on here, Dan.
Is there a way to pin my channel on here, Chris?
Probably, but I'm on the
phone. All right. So guys, USA Land Ventures is my channel. USA Land Ventures. Show me some follows. How do you deal with all 3 PPL with emotional support animals? Okay, look. People come in with an emotional support animal, you can't do anything about it. That's the reality. You cannot do anything about it. I mean, they need that emotional support. You got to eat it.
You better.
It goes against federal housing laws.
Yeah. So, okay, so we're not dealing with tenants that have, I'm just getting a lot of applicants, Dan, where the tenant, and I deal with a lot of Section 8. I'm like, I always like to ask, Dan, my favorite question, why are you moving? I want to know why you moving. What brings us here? Why? Oh, so-and-so, they wouldn't fix nothing. I'm like, this is going to be nothing but me in a year. This is exactly what
Well, you know what? But what's a good answer, Chris? Because there's been many good answers that I've gotten that make sense.
Great answer. I've been here 3 years. I'd like to try something different. I just had a kid 2 years ago. I want to get something bigger. Those are the regular ass answers that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I need to be closer to my kid's school. I need to be closer to work because I'm tired of driving an hour in every day or an hour back. Sometimes when I look at where they live now to where they're moving to, I'm like, but wait a minute, this is adding another half an hour on your trip. That doesn't make sense to me. So I'll ask them, why you leaving? Oh, I like that area. It's better. So I says, you work from home or you remotely, or you got to go to the office? I got to go to the office every day. So I says, okay, so you willing to travel half an hour longer to get there, half an hour to get back? That doesn't make sense. Now, if you tell me the school system in this area is great, and I want my kid to go there, and if it means I got to spend a half an hour in each direction, I'm willing to do it. That makes sense to me.
I've done that myself.
That makes sense to me. Now, if they tell me, listen, I need a bigger apartment, but I can't afford the prices closer to work, so I have to come out here. My family's growing. that makes sense to me. Right? That shows responsibility, financial responsibility to me. So, but if you tell me, complaining about your landlord, but you want to go half an hour further away from work, that doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times they try to act like they don't know. Well, I didn't have an eviction, or no, I didn't do that. I'm like, well, so you telling me the court system is lying on you? I'm saying it wasn't me. Okay, nice talking to you. It's just like I
You
don't
know
even.
what though, Chris? You talk. See, I don't even talk to. When I get the application, I get a full package from my realtors, and 99% of the time, my realtors will not send me an applicant that they know I'm going to say no to.
Oh, they already know.
They already know. This is anybody that you send me an applicant for has to fit within this box. This is the box they got to fit in. There's no negotiating from that box. Now, if they fit within that box, send it to me. I'll review it, and then if I want to move further, I'll do an interview with them. But I'm not. They got to first fit within the box with the documents. If they don't fit within that box, I'm not spending the time talking to anybody.
Good for you. All right, y'all, give us a follow. We got to get out of here. The Landlord's Guide to Survival. What do we say, Dan? The landlord? The ultimate. The
The
ultimate.
ultimate. We're coming up with. We're trying to figure out the name, guys.
Dan, for training on landlords to help y'all to stay in business for 50 years between Dan and I combined.
The reality
Ultimate
is, you
landlord
could buy a property right, you could renovate it right, but you put in the wrong tenant, you're done.
Dan,
And then you gotta manage the tenant. Right?
you know what? And somebody told me if I'm thinking about you in the morning before I think about my wife, I gotta get rid of you.
Yo, that's the truth. I gotta use that, bro.
If I'm
That
thinking
is
about
the
you,
truth.
I'm like, only person I need to think about is my beautiful wife in the morning. And if anybody occupies that space, and I know for a fact I have been there, I've had several people in the morning. Dan, tell my round up family members that have tenants, what can they do if they have tenants that they're thinking about in the mornings?
You gotta get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
Look, this is the truth. Look, I've got people that complain about their tenants, like landlords, and I hate my tenants. I said, why?
I don't do that.
Why? Why you hate your tenants? You shouldn't hate your tenants. Like, oh this, oh that. I said, but that's not your tenant's fault. That's your fault. They said, how's it my fault? I said, because you picked the wrong tenant. Or you're not, or if your tenant's complaining about the property conditions, you're not doing your job.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So first thing I do when I have a problem tenant is I go to that file and I said, let me look at this file and see where I screwed up. Because I screwed up somewhere. Right? Because if I didn't screw up, that tenant wouldn't be there. Now, that hasn't happened to me in a long time, Chris. 99% of the tenants I have problems with are the people that were living there when I bought the building, not people that I placed.
Yeah, you can't do nothing about them.
No. You got to train them. You got to train them.
Be trained or get trained. Train or be trained.
Somebody getting trained. You don't want to be the one getting trained. Look, I ain't going to lie to you, though, Chris. In the beginning, I got trained.
I was a professional trainee. Driving. You ever had a tenant call you and you drive to go get rent?
What I be thinking about back then, I used to be thinking about a lot of tenants while I was driving that would like training me, right? And looking back, if I could see them today, I thank them. Because they've made me hundreds and thousands of dollars because I didn't make those same mistakes. They trained me. They trained me well. Listen, in New York City, it could take you 18 months to 24 months to get rid of a tenant without getting paid, guys. Wow. So I was trained by the best professional tenants.
All right, Kris Haskins, Dan Borrero, I'm broadcasting from my closet. Y'all can see a lot more of my closet. Here you go, y'all. I'll put y'all right here.
Tell them why you in your closet, Chris.
It's the only place in my house I can get some peace and quiet.
That's rough.
Make sure y'all stay tuned. Give both of us a follow. Stay tuned for the ultimate landlord survival guide. Dan and I are working on that. We've been diligently. In fact, Dan, we need to set up 1 hour to meet this week. We need to make sure we boom, 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 and like the content. Share with anybody else that is a landlord. Deborah says, "What about a tenant who's been living there for 11 years? Would you keep?" Oh, wow, that's a great tenant right there.
My dad is a landlord in New York City with several buildings, now in his late 70s.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I love it. What about tenant who has been living with there for 11 years? I have no problems with my average tenancy is about 9.5 years for my New York apartments. Some of them go 10, 12 years. I don't really like tenants staying that long because what happens is the wear and tear in the apartment is a lot over those years. And then when I go in there, I got to do more renovation work, right? Not because the tenant was a bad tenant. It's just the reality is, you have wear and tear, right? Whereas if the tenant leaves every 5, 6 years, the repairs aren't that bad and I could get in and out of it quick. And I do upgrades every time the tenant leaves. But, if the tenant's there, I have a cousin of mine who's telling me, yeah, but my tenant's been here 15 years. I said, of course they've been. They're paying you $2,000 below market. I wouldn't leave anyway. Shit, I'd be there for 30 years, So, if they're there 11 years because they're paying below market, that don't mean squat. If they're there paying market price and they're 11 years and they're good tenants, be thankful, make sure you treat them right and show them some respect.
That's true. All right, let's get out of here. Who's Kate Middleton, Dan? I don't know who that is.
I don't see a Kate Middleton.
I mean, somebody died today. Gerardo, what are some important terms? We got to get out of here. We'll put that stuff in the Landlord's Guide, Survival Guide. All right, Dan. I'll see you soon. Y'all, make sure you subscribe.
Take care, everyone.
Tomorrow, 6:30, we'll be live in Virginia Beach. Peace.
Bye-bye.